I didn't play sports in high school, so all the jocks got the girls, and then the Beatles came along. And normal-looking guys like John Lennon and Ringo Starr suddenly looked good to the girls. So I learned to play the guitar, and I hadn't had a date my whole high school career. And with 3 weeks left in school, my buddies and I put on a 3-song concert, and we brought the house down. And I never had so many girls talk to me after that concert. And I go to myself with 3 weeks left. I go, shoot, I wish I'd found this a little sooner.
It is day 37 of the Hard Rock Shirt-a-thon, and today I am rocking a t-shirt from Washington, D.C. Joining me is the multi-talented David Hinkhouse. David is a retired school teacher, a poet, a songwriter, and a guitar player. He's also a featured performer in the most divisive Bloomington Brothers sketch of all time, as well as my favorite Upwards opponent.
Yeah, you dominate, man. Maybe it's just that you're smarter. I don't know. I can't accept that fact, though. So I keep playing.
He's my dad's cousin, making him my first cousin once removed. Please welcome David Hinkhouse. How old were you when you first heard the Beatles?
Junior in high school.
Okay.
And I was riding home from church with my dad, and he always played the country station, right? But I wanted to listen to the rock station. So I said, can you just turn on the rock station just for a little while on the way home? And the minute he turned it on, I heard I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles.
Wow.
I mean, the second he turned it on, and I had heard about the Beatles, and I listened to that song, and it was just like a whole world opened up in my mind, because I'd never heard rock and roll music played like that before. It had minor chord changes in it, and some really cool harmonies like the Beach Boys, and that was it for me. Now I had been listening to the Beach Boys, and I dreamed about surfing with them, not playing the guitar. I dreamed about, two girls for every guy thing in California.
Yeah.
But when the Beatles came along, it was more like, yeah, I want to do that. And the minister at our church told me that he'd let me use the church guitar when I learned it, I'd sing in church. Which, by the way, I've never fulfilled that promise.
There's still time. That gives me chills just thinking about, like, you remember the first time you ever heard the Beatles, and it was pretty life-changing.
Absolutely. That made me want to get a guitar and want to conquer that dadgum thing.
You said you had some other guitar stories. Any come to mind?
Yes, one in particular. I wanted to sing Bob Dylan music, right? And I was in boot camp. And
this is during the Vietnam War?
Yeah, 1970. We had a talent night, and I thought, oh, God, that'll get me out of the barracks for a little while. And I figured nobody'd be there, right? So I get up and go on stage, and the place is packed. All the officers sitting on the front row. There are people literally hanging out the window, they thirsted for something just to do, right?
Yeah.
And here I am with this guitar and a microphone, and I'm thinking, what the hell? And I ended up singing Times Are Changing. And so I've ripped off all 5 verses of Times Are Changing, and it kind of basically brought the house down. And I went back to the barracks, and all the guys in the barracks are just like, their jaw was dropping to the floor, and man, we love that, So the next morning, the drill sergeant's standing up there when we're in formation. He goes, Hinkhouse, come up here. And uh-oh. So I went up and he goes, I just wanted you to know I didn't like that song you sang last night. And I go, well, that's okay, drill sergeant. You don't have to like it. And he said, the old man didn't like it either. That's the company officer. And he said, the old man wants to see you. So I go in, and he goes, what's with that song you sang last night? What'd you pick that one for? And I said, well, I like it. I said, I think it has a good message. And he goes, well, I didn't like it. And he said, he was real quiet, and he goes, dismissed. Nobody ever said a word about it after that.
So you went into this open mic essentially during boot camp and played this huge protest song.
Exactly.
Which it feels like a scene from a movie. It reminds me of reading your dad's book, where it's like every scene is like, this just feels like watching a movie about the Depression or about whatever era it was.
On the last day of boot camp, they let squad leaders lead the marching. And, you do your chants when you march.
Yeah.
So we chanted, all we are saying in boot camp is give peace a chance.
Wow.
I mean, that was louder than any chant we'd ever done, the whole boot camp. And we get back to the formation, and the drill sergeant looks at us and he goes, well, gentlemen, he says, I just want you to know, he said, sometimes you have to kill for peace.
Whoa.
And that was it. I had to serve for 6 years, and, we stuffed our hair up under our hats and tried to hide our 60s look as much as we could.
Is Bob Dylan your favorite of all time?
Yes. He changed music into having something to say instead of just love songs.
Are there any current bands that you like?
You know what? I haven't listened to any of Taylor Swift's music, but I adore her.
Okay.
And I'm going to start listening to her and catching up, because, there are 20 colleges that offer courses of her songwriting and her music.
I didn't know that.
And I love Lady Gaga. I think she's just awesome. She's the female Elton John.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
She's just a normal looking, like Elton was, just a normal looking person. I can't emphasize that enough. That music allows normal looking people who don't have bulging muscles and the handsome face necessarily, but they have something to offer that's attractive to other people. That's what rock and roll and music does for people. I think it tears down stereotypes.
As you know, I'm doing this big project. We're trying to raise a bunch of money for free guitars for kids. You were an early donor to this cause. Why do you think people should support it, other than you're just a nice guy and you want to support your first cousin once removed?
I think it's a wonderful thing. And man, guitars vibrate, when you hold them and they sing to you, and they change your life. And they give you something to do when you get old. It's just crucial. It breaks down barriers between people. It allows you to come outside of yourself and not hide.
Yeah.
I take my hat off to you that you're on quite a journey, and hopefully Taylor Swift will join you before you're all over.
I have no doubt.
I could play one for you. I told her that I was a flop with kicks. I've been this way since 1956. She looked at my palm and she made a magic sign. She said, what you need is the potion number 9. And that's how that goes.
We got sound effects.
Good one. Great talking to you, Matt.
Great talking to you. I could have talked to you longer, but it'll take me too long to edit if we keep recording. So.
All right. You keep up the good work, okay?